From completing our first draft to completing our final cut, we have made a lot of changes and improvements. These improvements were based on feedback we received from class members, school friends and family. One of the main points picked up about our film during these feedback sessions was our use of music. In our second draft we used the same piece all the way through, and this didn't work for all of the scenes. An example of this is in the party scene where we muted the piano music because it didn't work well for this scene. From the feedback we learned that it would work well with some dance music, which is what we then changed it to. Another point which we picked up from our feedback was the lack of titles and information in our trailer. We felt this was a very valid point and is an important part to a trailer. We corrected this by adding the soap's name and broadcasting information to the last clip in our trailer. This now means the audience is informed as to when our soap will be shown. The feedback sessions also pointed out that the second scene in the trailer, which is the clip of the character George, was far too dark and was hard to see what was happening. We amended this by colour correcting the scene to make George more visible. When I had finished the first draft of my magazine and poster, I gathered feedback in order to make the developments necessary to complete my final drafts. Here is the first draft of my magazine cover. The main improvement points I noted were that it needs to be a lot more busy. For example, there needs to be pictures in all the blank spaces. I was also told that there needs to be more taglines to give a small insight to the audience about the storylines. Another main point I learnt from the feedback was that the masthead and info on the left-hand side needs to be smaller, as it takes up a lot of the space on the magazine cover. I also found that people thought the barcode and a lot of the information was too big and need to be made smaller to allow more room for pictures and taglines. There was a lot of positive feedback about the colour scheme which I used in this magazine cover, so I decided to keep the colours the same in the final draft. I considered all of these points and used them to help me create my final product. Here is my final magazine cover. As you can see, there is a lot more going on in this piece, as I have included a lot more pictures and filled in the space. I think this makes it a lot more appealing to the audience, as it looks more enticing and the storylines look more interesting, which is helped by my use of taglines. This is the first draft of my poster. The main points picked up in the feedback for the poster were that it needs a tagline, also that the image of the cast should be cropped as it is occupying too much of the space, which changes the focal points. We agreed with these comments and changed the poster accordingly. Firstly, we added the tagline, "Will George confess?" Secondly, we cropped the characters at the legs so the focal point remained in the middle. Here is a copy of the final edit of my poster. As you can see, I have made the suggested changes, including cropping and the adding of taglines. I have also darkened the eyes to make them look more mysterious, along with adding light to the two main characters, Helen and Dan. I have done this to make them stand out more, also to give the connotations of innocence. Overall, I think our collection of feedback has helped us to produce a much more satisfying final product. This is because the critical comments we received might not have been spotted by us, so it was good to get more than one opinion.